As we approach the end of the year, I think it's a great time to reflect on our photography, maybe try to figure out what worked and what didn't, and come up with a possible plan for the year ahead. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some big plans for my photography and also the channel as a whole. And maybe this might give you a few ideas to implement in your own photography as well. During the video, I'll also be sharing my favourite images from 2023. So we're straight into the photography this morning, and I've set up here looking at the wonderful Saundersfoot Harbour Wall, which is a beautiful location. Be quiet. And at the minute I'm having a bit of an issue, and that is the light. Composition works lovely, but the sky is very bright, and on the horizon we have a very, very heavy blanket of cloud, which wasn't supposed to be there according to the weather apps, but nonetheless it is. So I've set the composition up anyway, and what we've got here at low tide is a sandbank to the entrance of the harbour, and I think that would look great with some light on it, as too would the harbour wall. So that's the plan, but really I'm just waiting for light, because at the minute I just can't really make the exposure. The shadows are too dark, the sky above the clouds are too bright. So I've set up, I'm being patient, and hopefully I can make the image if we get a break in the clouds. But if not, we'll be heading to another location anyway, see what else we can make today. So for a split second there, we had some interest in the sky. We had this flock of seagulls which were flying around the tower at the end of the harbour wall there, which was really nice. I wasn't expecting that to happen at all. And that added interest to the sky because it was very, very blue and quite bland. So basically what I did was increase my ISO to 800, which in turn allowed me to get a 100th of a second shutter speed, which froze the motion in the birds as they were flying. And I think this could make a really nice black and white image. Pretty much all of the land and the harbour wall was all silhouettes. I think, yeah, it could make a really nice black and white shot. So that's cool, but now we're just waiting for the sun to rise. We've got about 5 minutes, and I'm hoping we'll get a break in the cloud and get some nice light on these beautiful details we've got here. So while we're waiting for the light that doesn't look like it's going to come, let's talk about the state of the channel first, and then I'll get on to the things I'm changing about my photography in just a bit. So I managed to put out around 50 videos during the last year, which I'm super stoked about. In the past it's been around the 40 mark, something like that, so I definitely feel like I've stepped it up a bit over the last 12 months, and I think I've learned a lot along the way too, which is always good. But also I've thoroughly enjoyed being more consistent with my uploads, and hopefully you have enjoyed that too. For the next year, I'm hoping to crank it up a notch. My thoughts are to produce more than 50 videos, but I don't want to, just sort of make videos for the sake of it. I want them to be better and offer more value to you in terms of the photography related content that I make. So the plan is to put a video out every Thursday as usual at 4 p.m. But if I make additional videos, they will go out on a Sunday morning. So I don't know exactly how many extra videos that will be at this point. I'm just going to see, how it goes, and I'll continue to put out my newsletter every Thursday as well, which will list any additional videos that I make. So the link for the newsletter is down in the description if you fancy keeping up to date with everything that's going on behind the scenes. Now, I don't usually say this until the very end of my videos, but if you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button, that will make sure you get notified every time a new video goes out. So be sure to do that if you don't want to miss one. Wow, what a beautiful morning it's been so far. Absolutely gorgeous. The light never really fell where I wanted it to fall though for the composition I was working on first thing, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But I think it's time to put the kettle on. I'm not sure there's anything better than having a coffee and a biscuit at sunrise on the beach. Just absolutely beautiful, isn't it? You want some more? Sit them. Sit them. Should have bought two, shouldn't I? There you go. So I've dropped Luna back, she was getting bored, and I've headed out onto the west coast now to hopefully make an image here in these dunes, because I've photographed this 3 or 4 times now. Never really come away with an image that I was happy with. So maybe tonight's the night, or maybe I should have left the camera behind and bought my surfboard instead. Who knows? Time will tell. Fingers crossed we'll get a good one tonight. So let's talk photography. So something I mentioned quite a lot on the channel is how having an emotional connection with your work is so important. You know, when you look at an image, it's so important that it resonates with you as a person. If you're creating work with other motives in mind, it can lead to a disconnection that can make the photos feel a little bit soulless. Now, I'm not really talking about how others see your work, but more about how you see your own work. If the photos you take, come from within, I found it makes the whole process so much more enjoyable and more rewarding too. Now, of course, not every photo we take is going to be a keeper, but if the intention is right in the first place, we're definitely on the right path. So for me, it's the art of photography that really excites me, piecing together a difficult composition in a way that the image has balance and harmony. And I think I've got so much to learn in this area. And to be honest, I don't think there will ever be a day when I sit down and think I've got it all figured out. But that is the beauty of photography, isn't it? It's a never-ending learning curve. So I did manage to find a composition fairly quickly looking through these dunes here. Basically we've got a pathway which the camera is situated on now, and we've got this embankment on the left hand side and on the right hand side, but there's quite a lot of shadow in this shot. I think that's quite nice. So this whole left hand side is in dark shadow. There's some ridges on the other side as well, which is adding some contrast and texture, and it kind of allows us to see through the dunes into the distance. We've got some nice surf there and some light hitting the cliff side on the right hand side of the image. So the eye gets drawn through the scenes. I think that's quite nice. Focused a third of the way into the image. F8 gets everything nice and sharp. So I've noticed there's one thing of late that's making me feel disconnected with my image making, and that's from a technology perspective. Now, cameras are getting so damn good these days, it almost feels like I'm not actually taking the image. I'm just kind of pointing it in the right direction and everything else is taken care of. And on the rare occasions that the camera doesn't get it right, there's probably some AI software that can rescue the image for me anyway. Now, technology is a fantastic thing, don't get me wrong. But I think what's happening to my photography of late is that maybe I'm relying on it just a little bit too much, and perhaps I'm getting a little bit lazy in the process. And I think sometimes I'm actually making myself more work in the process by doing so. Take a look at this image here, which I took a few weeks ago when autumn was in peak colour. It's a beautiful image, but I came away feeling like I'd rushed the shot. It kind of gave me more editing work to do than was actually required. So this image is focus stacked. It's 2 images shot at f11, one focused on the tree in the foreground and one on the trees in the background. And then the 2 images were blended together using layers in Photoshop. It probably took me about 30 minutes to process the image, but if you look at the raw files, the foreground tree is only a touch soft when the image is focused on the background tree. So I'm pretty certain, had I spent another 10 minutes in the field judging my focus point correctly and adjusting my aperture as required, I would have been able to get the image in one shot. ultimately, rushing in the field gave me more work to do in the long run. And because I enjoy being outside, places like this, more than I do being in the office, it makes way more sense to spend more time on my image making as opposed to my post-processing. Absolutely beautiful. So the changes I'm going to be making to my photography for the foreseeable future is I'm just going to be making photos that can be taken with one image. So no bracketing, focus stacking, time blending or other blending techniques. It's just going to be, digital photography in its purest form, if you like. One raw image with subtle editing to bring out the beauty and detail. Nothing more apart from maybe the odd cleanup of maybe dust spots or unwanted litter, that type of thing. But by doing this, I'm hoping to have a deeper connection with my photos, which will ultimately encourage me to get out and shoot more photos. And that can only be a good thing, can't it? Right, we need to make another photo this evening. Now I've got that golden light. My only issue we have though is there's a bank of cloud out to the west. So we had the cloud out to the east this morning, cloud out to the west tonight. But hopefully we'll get just a short window of beautiful golden light. You can probably see now on my face, it's starting to dip. So yeah, I think we better make haste and see if we can get another image tonight. Fingers crossed, eh? Got to work so quickly. That light's going, but it's beautifully diffused. A lovely soft, warm glow right now. And I've got this lovely plant here, which I'm going to use as my foreground. Just setting my tripod up really quite low. I've got the wide angle lens on. It's going to be a vertical composition. But I really need to work quickly. It's a race against time. So I faffed around with my shot quite a bit here. I ended up splaying the legs of the tripod out because I wanted to get it as low as possible, get really close to this wonderful plant here with its textures and details. Got these marram grasses coming up into the edge of the frame as well, which acts as lead in lines, which helps kind of draw the eye through the scene. And I've kept this tripod low mainly because of the expanse of midground. I didn't want there to be a huge amount of midground in the shot, otherwise it's quite distracting. So yeah, there's some lovely pastel hues in the sky as well, which kind of add to the overall feel of the image. I think it's definitely better than what we had this morning. The light's been really harsh today. It's been quite difficult to work in. I'm just going to take another one now. There's a bit more detail coming into the sky, which is really nice. I managed to find a patch of sand here. Actually, it doesn't have any footprints on, which is quite difficult around this area. There's a lot of dog walkers come here. So yeah, I'm quite pleased about that. And we had quite a bit of rain last night as well. So there's wonderful rain patterns in the sand as well, which is pretty cool. By the way, there's absolutely nothing wrong with focus stacking and bracketing your photos. They're all very, very useful techniques, and I urge everyone to learn them and use them when required. I just think that sometimes for me personally, I've been using them when perhaps I didn't actually need to, and it was making me a lazy photographer, and that's something I really want to try and avoid. I also think it'll be a fun challenge to restrict myself to one-shot images. I'm really looking forward to that. I do hope you enjoyed this week's video, and I wish you all the best for your photography over the coming year. I was going to say the video up here will take you to a focus stacking video, but maybe this one would be a better fit. It's all about shooting locally, and I'm sure you will love it. Anyway, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe for more content. Take care, and I hope to see you all next week.